Alright, so welcome back again. So today we will do for the day 3 left of the AWS cloud. So the day 3 title is create subnet, right? So we're trying to do it. So when we see the title, so you will start to know that what is subnet. What is subnet? So for example, we can simply understand, with this diagram. So in AWS cloud, VPC is kind of like a house. In the VPC, we will have the separated rooms, like a bedroom, like the living rooms, and like the kitchen rooms, different kinds of rooms. So a house is um, a house has different rooms like that. So in a VPC, we will have the different subnets for each kind of service. So for an application to be running properly, we need the different kinds of operations and service. So for example, we need the web server. So anyone from the internet outside of the house, they can try to enter this public subnet web server. This is a web app. So okay, anyone can enter on the internet. So this is a public because it's a public. Okay, for example, you can understand this. What is a subnet? Subnet is kind of like a small network inside a VPC. It's a small room. So like a room inside a house. So each subnet has its own IP range. So this is very important, IP range. So it can be that subnet can be public or the service can be private. So if it is public, um, any other from the internet, they can try to enter, they can try to talk to that service, they can connect to that service. But it is private, for example. So this is database. You can think of like, and database is kind of like a bedroom. So if it is bedroom, anybody from the outside of the house, they cannot enter into the bedroom, right? The family members can enter into the bedroom. So that's kind of like a private. So this is private network. So only internet access. So that means the subnet one is internet access and internet service. So they can communicate with the subnet 2. Subnet 1 and subnet 2 communicate because subnet 1 is a part of VPC, a member of VPC. So that's why subnet 1 and subnet 2 communicate. But anybody from the outside of the VPC, they cannot directly trying to access to the subnet 2 because it's a private. So also F subnet 2, we can think the same way, like private is private, right? So F server, so it's kind of like you can think like kitchen room. In kitchen room, um, almost everybody can enter that room. You know, um, their family members can use that room, right? Can enter into that room. So that's kind of private room. So subnet 1 and subnet 2 can communicate, can contact, can connect, can talk each other to the subnet 3 because subnet 1 and subnet 2 are members of VPC, a part of VPC. So that means only internet access. So anybody from the internet cannot directly connect to the app server because it's private, right? So it is subnet 3. So they will have the IP range. This is the IP range. So this is the IP range, but they have different IP range. Here, this is 10.0. You will see that. Here 10.0.1.0.24. Here 10.0.2.0.24. So this is IP range. So VPC also have the IP range. So alright, so then you will understand what is a subnet right here. So let me try to create the AWS subnet. So the Nautilus DevOps team is strategizing the migration of a portion of the infrastructure to the AWS cloud. So recognizing the scale of this undertaking, they have opted to approach the migration in incremental steps rather than as a single massive transition. So for this task, we had to create one subnet. So the name of subnet is xfusion-subnet under default VPC. So we use these credentials. Alright, I try to click that. So I will use this username, I will paste right there, and I will use this password. And actually Subnets is a kind of service. This is web server service, this is database service, this is app server service. So within a VPC, right? So now we will find the VPC to create a subnet. So I will type to VPC, I click this link, and I go to create a small subnet. So here I click the subnet, and I will click this create subnet. All right. So I click that. So we will use the default VPC. This is the default VPC. So it's here. So here IP range. Its IP range is this. Is IP range 216. So the subnet name is what is the subnet name? xfusion-subnet, right? So I will get that name. So availability zone is here. We need to consider this part. Create that resource only in a US as one region. So we will choose the availability zone is this one, right? So here, this is VPC subnet, VPC CINDR block. This is VPC IP range. IP range is 16. It's the same. 31.0.0. So how do we give the CINDR block for the subnet? So I will use this 21.72.31.0.0/20, and can I create that? So we almost finished to fit the requirement fees. So AWS clients. All right. So let me create it. So now we have an error. We have the issue because CINDR address overlaps with existing subnet CINDR. So this CINDR is already existing, already used by some subnets. So how do we do that? So here I want to explain. So we will find that IPv4 CINDR list. You see, we use this one right now. Yeah, this one, but it's already used by this subnet. By this subnet ID is already used this CIDR, so we cannot use it again. We had to choose another one. So here I want to explain subnet max. So here you will see full orders, and this is the IP address. And IP address we have full order. This is first, this is 31 second, 16 is third, 0 is 4. So we have full orders. The first two order is network portion 172.31. 72.31 is a network portion. The remaining two orders are host portion. So the first two portions are not unchangeable. The second two orders are changeable. So we can change these numbers. Here 0.0 we can change, 16.0 we can change, 32.0 we can change, 48.0 we can change. This is the whole portion. So this is the basic knowledge of subnet max and schemas. Right, so how do we find the one that is not used yet? So now 16 already used, 40 already used, 84 already used, 64 already used, 32 for already used. So we can use I think we can use 1 to 8, right? Because 1 to 8 is not used here and yet. So let we go back again, create subnet, and we choose this. We get this subnet name. This is the availability zone. So I choose 72.31.0.0 20. So I will choose 1 to 8. Can I create that? yeah, 128 is not used by any subnet. So we successfully created, so that's it. So we can go back to VPC and we will see the subnet. So now you will see that subnet name xfusion subnets that we created recently. So yeah, so finish it. So we're trying to check it out. Yeah, we successfully finished. We are done here. Alright, I will stop left here. Right, so thanks for watching. I will catch you in the next video.